This episode is delivered to you ad-free thanks to our Imagination Skyway Patreon subscribers. Learn more at patreon.com/imaginationskyway. Welcome aboard Imagination Skyway, your guided tour through the worlds of Disney and Imagineering. I'm Matthew Kroll, your host on this panoramic journey, and I'm on a mission to better understand the stories and places we love and the people who bring them to life. In today's episode, I'm giving you free access to 2 bonus episodes that were previously only available to our subscribers at patreon.com/imaginationskyway. In these mini episodes, you'll learn more about my experiences at 2 dining locations that opened this year, 2025, at Walt Disney World: the Cake Bake Shop at Disney's Boardwalk and GEO-82, the Spaceship Earth Lounge, at EPCOT. If you're looking for ad-free episodes, bonus content like the ones found in today's episode, or the ability to comment directly on the podcast and a way to support the show, head to patreon.com/imaginationskyway, where you can sign up for a free account or a premium subscription. As you fasten your seatbelt, I encourage you to take out your mobile devices and search for Imagination Skyway on your favorite social media app. And if this episode leaves you yearning for a trip to Disney or any other destination, reach out to our partners and sponsors at KMV Travel by visiting kmvtravel.com/skyway. As we begin our journey, please remain seated, keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times, and enjoy your journey aboard Imagination Skyway. About a year ago, I posted a video on Patreon and shared a reel to Instagram talking about the Cake Bake Shop. And I was balking at the prices of the Cake Bake Shop and saying that the Boardwalk needs something else. It needs something that is less of a high-end experience, more of a quick service experience. And I still stand by the fact that I think Boardwalk is missing a strong quick service presence. The Boardwalk Deli just, honestly, it doesn't cut it. It's fine. It does not cut it. To get a really good quick service meal staying at Boardwalk, it's great you have access to Beach Club and Yacht Club, but I gotta make the trek over there. I've been mostly heading to the market at the Ale and Compass over at the Yacht Club, and that's a good 6-7 minute walk each way on a good day for my room to get there, and it just doesn't really cut it at the Boardwalk for quick service. So I still stand by the fact that Disney, if you're listening, Boardwalk needs a better quick service experience. I'm going to just stand by that. That being said, but I know they have other options, right? They have the corn dog stand, they have the pizza window, so there's other things, but I'm talking about something that's more like the Gasparilla Island Grill over at Grand Floridian, or Captain Cook's over at Polynesia, something with an extensive menu that can service the guests staying there without the need to travel to another resort. That's not what this episode is about, but I wanted to say that when I was jumping on the Cake Bake Shop, I did something I don't normally do. And I've always said to reserve judgment until you experience something in person, and I broke my own rule, and I regret doing it because I think that was the wrong choice, and I'm here to correct it. Because I finally had the chance to dine at the Cake Bake Shop this week with Joanna, Maggie, and Emily. I said, we're staying at the Boardwalk, let's do breakfast at the Cake Bake Shop, make it a relaxing morning before we head over to Magic Kingdom for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. We'll take it easy, we'll go back to the room, relax, and then go take a late start at Magic Kingdom. So we made a reservation, went there for breakfast, and everything about the Cake Bake Shop, from start to finish, was incredible. And I think the prices that Gwendolyn Rogers has set for the Boardwalk are incredibly fair for the experience that we got. And I am here to say I will definitely be back. And so let me just talk to you a little bit about the experience before I dive into the food. It's very clear, as someone who, I work in the business world. I used to work, as you know, as a cast member for Disney, so I'm well aware of the service standards that are set for world-class organizations like Disney. And I am also aware of what it takes to operate a business. Certainly not as extensive as Gwen's small business, which includes now multiple shops across Indianapolis and now Orlando, dedicated to her art. That's the only way I could describe it. But every detail from start to finish was very intentional and service-oriented. Even when we checked in, once we got our text that our table was ready, there's a ribbon, a similar the retractable ribbon ropes. I don't know how else to describe it, but they have them across Disney too. The hostess at the front pulled that aside, let us through, closed the rope behind us, opened the door for us, let us in. We were greeted by 3 people when we walked into the cake bake shop. All had friendly service and a smile, and you walk in and you're just immersed in this glittery, luxurious, sparkling is the only way I could describe it. Like this glittery, sparkling experience or room that matches the architecture of Boardwalk, that turn of the century design, but it has this glow to it. And you walk inside and we sit at our table, and we did mention we needed a high chair for Emily, and I'm looking and I don't see a high chair. And all of a sudden I realize they have a regular chair that they turned into a high chair. So they have a specifically designed high chair for kids for the cake bake shop. And I already knew, okay, this is a place that every step of the process, every piece of the design is intentional and well thought out. I'm aware, based on other interviews I've heard with Gwen, that she designs the interior spaces herself. So, and they change out seasonally. So we were presented with this summer fall look, and the chandeliers that are in there, the lighting, the leaves that are designed in there. Just every single little thing is meticulous. I also noticed in the center, I really want to try, there's a center table. It's a circular shape with some annexes outside of this circle, but in the middle of the circle, there's one table that seats, it looks like about 6 guests, and they had their own, almost like these little private viewing windows or open windows that you can look into the rest of the restaurant, circular 360 with one entrance on one side. It's a booth that you can sit in there. And it was just really cool. Look, they had their own little chandelier in there, so it was a really interesting little central seat or table that you can get in there. But that just, again, speaks to the intentional design of this place. And our server, Dylan, from beginning to end, just incredibly service-oriented, very, very friendly, served us with a smile, answered our questions, provided recommendations, just... everything about it was wonderful. His service was incredible. We started with drinks, and he mentioned that on the coffee menu, we could get anything iced or hot. So you could get, with the exception of cold brews. Cold brew is always going to be cold, but he had espresso, cafe au lait, cafe mocha, chai tea latte, matcha latte, rosé cappuccino, cafe au lait, americano, cafe latte, cappuccino, London fog latte, and coconut latte. And so the majority of these I just listed can be served iced or hot. So Joanna got the cafe latte iced with vanilla, and they were able to do that. I got the cappuccino. Right away when they served the drinks, they were presented in either, in Joanna's case, a really nice glass, and I could see that foam on the top. And the same thing with my cappuccino, which was served in this mug. It had just the right, you could tell by looking at it. Cappuccino is my indulgence. I've talked about this before. I love going to a nice restaurant and having a good cappuccino. I could already tell just looking at it, this was going to be a great cappuccino. And sometimes when they serve cappuccinos, right away you're sipping it. It's, you get through the foam and it's really, really hot. That did not happen with this. I waited maybe 15 seconds before I started, after taking some pictures, digging into this cappuccino. It was the perfect temperature right from the get-go. And on top of it, I'm saying to myself, it looks like it's glittering. And then I realized that there is this edible glitter that's on top of it. And it's just so interesting to look at, and it just, again, everything sparkles about this restaurant. And both of our drinks came with a donut hole. And let me tell you, this is not like the Dunkin' Donuts munchkins I get at home, right? Like, or a Tim Hortons donut hole. This is, it just was flaky on the outside, fluffy on the inside, crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. It was a cinnamon flavor. And oh my goodness, it was so good. Like, I could have eaten a box of them. And that came with the coffees complimentary. To start, we decided it was not listed as a quote-unquote appetizer, but Dylan basically said it is an appetizer, and that is the bites of. Oh, I'm trying to find it back on the menu. I want to make sure I get the name of this just right, and of course it is not listed on the menu here. Oh, it's because I'm looking at the snack menu. Let me go back and change that. I'm gonna have to look this up for you. But they were French toast brioche bites was basically what the name I was looking for was. I just want to make sure I get the exact name for you here. There we go, cinnamon toast brioche bites. So it's $24 for a pile of cinnamon toast brioche bites, which have cinnamon, brown sugar, and European butter piled high and served with a side of our signature cream cheese frosting. Delicious, absolutely delicious, worth the $24. It is the best cinnamon toast brioche French toast I have ever had, and it was, again, like, it was soft and fluffy, and it served at the perfect temperature. It was very clearly made from scratch in the back. Some of the best savory or sweet, I should say sweet, breakfast I've ever had. It was just perfect. I'm still dreaming about it. I want to go back for it. Incredible, incredible, incredible. We pretty much devoured those. Then for food, Maggie and Emily just picked what we had because they don't eat a lot. But Joanna ordered the 2 eggs any style. She ordered them scrambled. That part of that was for the kids. So she got 2 eggs, roasted finger and potatoes, which came with, she got sausage. It could be bacon, pork, or sausage, and a choice of toast. She said it was delicious, and I tried a couple bites, and absolutely delicious. But I decided I wanted to go for one of the more signature things, which I'd heard a lot of good things about, the broccoli quiche. By the way, her item was for $18. Mine, which is $24, was the broccoli quiche, which is a custard quiche with fresh broccoli, shallots, and Parmesan cheese baked in our European all-butter pastry dough crust. Comes with a side of an arugula salad. You can upgrade it for a few bucks to the fingerling potatoes. I decided to stick with the arugula salad. I figured with the brioche bites, I probably should balance that with some vegetables. And the broccoli quiche was so good, it made me want to cry. I mean, from the first bite, the texture, again, the temperature, I talk about the temperature, but they serve the temperature of everything perfectly. Restaurant standards for temperature, sometimes you get food, it's too hot right away, you have to wait. Might have been sitting out for a while, it's a little bit cooler now. Perfect temperature, absolutely perfect temperature. Both the salad and the broccoli quiche, it could not have been a better temperature. The texture could not have been better. The flavor could not have been better. Like, I've never tasted a broccoli quiche, or any quiche for that matter, this good. And the European dough crust, right? It was flaky on the outside, and the bottom had that little bit of resistance where you need to take, either a butter knife or just like put the fork with a little bit more force through it. So it gave it a little bit of a crunch to it, or softer, still soft, but like this, a little bit more of a crunch to it. And added a little bit more of a texture to it. And it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And to top it all off, I'm going in here and I'm saying to myself, I'm prepared to spend $150, $200 on breakfast, because that's pretty much what I expected out of this experience. And from what I saw on the menu prices, I'm like, that's about how much we're going to spend. But our bill came out to, with tax, $123. And that is after a 10% discount, or it was about $123. So it's with the 10% discount that we got for using our Disney Visa card. And that was less than I spent at Tusker House. It was about the same amount that I spent at Cape May Cafe. And yes, I got a lot more food at Cape May Cafe, but I will choose Cake Bake Ship every time when it comes to food choices. The only reason I would go back to Cape May Cafe is staying at the beach club and having the convenience of it being right there, or of course seeing the characters. But This was truly an experience, end to end. We got a little tote bag to take some stuff to go, a cake bake shop tote bag with Tupperware to take our food to go. Like, they really, every part of this experience was so carefully crafted. And I'm here to say I'm a huge fan of the cake bake shop. I went back, if you didn't see, go check out my video reviewing, because I went back the next night to try the raspberry jam crumble bar and the blueberry crumb cake, and both some of the best pastries I've ever had. We have some great bakeries in New York, better than anything I've ever tasted at a New York bakery, and just so incredibly fresh, incredibly well prepared, incredibly well presented. This is a place you go for an experience, or and incredible food. The food here is some of the best on Disney property I've ever tasted, and I will definitely be back. I will definitely be singing cake bake shop praises again and again, and I will definitely not be doing what I always advise against, and unfortunately broke my own rule, which is judging something before I experience it myself. And I encourage you to do the same, because I am always proven wrong when that happens, when I do that. If you have been to Cake Bake Shop, I want to know your thoughts. If you haven't, again, let me know what you would order. Take a look at the menu. I'm probably going to have to go back for dinner to try that out, and I'm maybe going to have to try afternoon tea. I will be back for a lot of things. In any case, thank you so much, as always, for listening to these bonus episodes. And remember, as always, to keep moving forward. This week, I am taking advantage of some solo time at Walt Disney World while Joanna, Maggie, and Emily are on the Disney Wish with Joanna's mom. And to take advantage of the time, I wanted to dine someplace that I would otherwise not get the chance to eat with my kids, because it is the brand new 21 and up only lounge that you can find at EPCOT at the back of Spaceship Earth, called GEO-82. And the number one question I get about GEO-82 is, where is it? Well, if you are in World Celebration Gardens, that's that central point with the new Walt Disney statue, which is not that new anymore, but the Walt Disney statue. If you're facing Walt, right behind that, you'll see these glass windows at the back of the Spaceship Earth pavilion. That is where the lounge is. It is above the exits of Spaceship Earth. It is an old sponsor lounge. So that's the space that they turned into GEO-82. To enter it, if you're facing Spaceship Earth from the front of the park, you walk into the park, you go around Spaceship Earth to the right, not to the left. So that's towards the side of the park that has the Seas Pavilion and the land. You go to that direction, enter into the exit of Spaceship Earth that way, and the entrance is right there. It's kind of like nestled in between the exit of Spaceship Earth and the exterior wall. So that's where GEO-82 is. I spent a lot of time answering that question, but it is complicated, and I know people are asking or have been asking, where is it and how do I get into it? I will also mention that reservations are required, and they are not doing a walk-up list at this point. I was very lucky. I looked the morning of, because I didn't really plan on this until the last minute. I looked the morning of, and I had looked several days prior. It was booked the entire week, but I just happened to see, I thought, you know what, maybe this morning there will be a cancellation. And sure enough, for a party of one, there was a 6:15 reservation, which was perfect. After work for me, I headed over there, and I enjoyed dinner. Here's the other thing. If you listen to the show, you know that I do not drink alcohol. I rarely drink at all. The only time I have alcohol is occasionally for like a champagne toast at a wedding, or like a glass of wine on a special occasion. That's it. So I was originally hesitant to go here, but there were 2 zero-proof cocktails on the menu, and one of them really caught my eye. Before I get to that, I want to discuss what this menu includes. There are 5 small bites on the menu. That is it for food. Those are 1, a chef's selection of artisanal cheeses, cured meats, and accompaniments for currently $29. A fungi flatbread, which has roasted mushrooms, miso, mascarpone mozzarella, fontina, pickled red onion, and black garlic molasses. A jumbo lump crab gâteau, which is smoked cheddar, smoked cheddar, pickled mustard seed lemon vinaigrette, and supreme caviar. The cannellini hummus. By the way, the flatbread is $15. The jumbo lump crab is $25. The cannellini hummus for $14. It has pumpkin seed pistou, radish, preserved lemon, Fresno peppers, and papadum. And then truffled ahi tuna for $23. It has Japanese whiskey, barrel-aged soy truffle ponzu, citrus, scallion, tobacco, and black sesame seeds. The featured cocktails, I'm not going to run through all of them, but just to give you an idea of some of the popular ones on here, there is a brown butter old-fashioned, that's $28. It has Woodford Reserve double oaked bourbon, brown butter, maple, Hella Cocktail Co. Mexican chocolate bitters. There's also the exclusive, this is what my server told me is the most popular, the exclusive Disney Select Bourbon Flight, that's $49. It has Uncle Nearest Single Barrel, Woodford Reserve Private Barrel, Blanton's Gold Single Barrel, and Stag Private Barrel. And one more I'll share with you if you're interested in a more fruity cocktail. They have the Peach Shrub Whiskey Smash that has Toki Suntory Whiskey, Lustau Amontillado Sherry, Peach and Mint Shrub, and Bubbles. There are also beer selections, so you can get Miller High Life Lager, Modelo Especial Lager, Lexington Brewing Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale. There are also wine selections, so you can get things like a Arnaud Roberts Rosé, a Domaine Chapelle Fleury Charbonnières. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, actually. A Presqu'île Pinot Noir. There's a lot of names in here I don't know how to pronounce. One I do know how to pronounce is a Massican Hyde Vineyards Chardonnay. And these range from $16 a glass to, if you want to get a bottle, $120 a bottle. And then there are, I should mention, in addition to the 5 small bites, they have allergy-friendly versions of those menu items too. Now the zero proof cocktails, I got a walk through the garden is one of them. That's for $17, and Manhattan in the Morning is also for $17. I opted for a walk through the garden. It is Seedlip Garden 108 non-alcoholic spirit, basil, fennel, lemon, Hella Cocktail Company orange bitters, the Bitter Truth celery bitters, and bubbles. And it was described to me as a refreshing and herbaceous beverage. So it includes it simulates the experience of a cocktail, all the complexity of the flavor without the alcohol in it, and it has this really refreshing taste. And the server also mentioned that it goes through a carbonation process that gives it 5 times the amount of carbonation of a typical soda. And when I tasted this, I can attest to this. It was really bubbly, but not to the point where it was overwhelming. It was a very interesting experience, and it again adds to the complexity of trying a cocktail without having the side effects of drinking alcohol. The experience of arriving here, I was not able to check into the app, but I did walk in to the GEO-82 entrance. There's a desk there on the first floor. They took my name, they confirmed my reservation, and sent me right upstairs to the lobby area. You can go up this spiral staircase around the elevator or in the central elevator up 1 floor to the 2nd floor. And when you get up there, there's a landing with more servers and cast members there to greet you, as well as this seating area with this really, the only way I could describe it is elegant, luxurious, dim, almost steakhouse-like mood lighting that's in there. It's very dimly lit, but it has this upscale, futuristic GEO-82 architecture. There's also some EPCOT artwork on the walls that feels like you're entering into a very luxurious airport lounge. It's the only way I could describe it, but EPCOT themed. And so I waited there for maybe 10 minutes, and then I was brought over to the bar. Being a person of one, or party of one, it was pretty obvious I was not going to get a table, but I was going to get a spot at the bar, and that was fine. I was actually seated next to one other person who did end up getting a couple of cocktails and spoke highly of them. I went through, like I said, a walk through the garden. It's $17. I know that's a lot for a mocktail, but then compare it to the cheapest cocktail on the menu is $23, and the most expensive one on the main menu is $49. That's the bourbon flight for a single cocktail. The most expensive is $28. That's that brown butter old fashioned that I mentioned. So I was expecting to spend that much when I went into here, and part of that is also because of the experience of dining at GEO-82. The service is really incredible. They were, from start to finish, really some of the best cast members that you can think of. It felt like I was dining at a signature restaurant on Disney property, the way that the servers were treating me, and the cast members were treating me through the entire experience. The silverware, the napkins, just everything is very high class. And of course, you get this gorgeous view of World Celebration Gardens. And I should mention, you can also get a fireworks package here. You do have to, again, be 21 and up. So if you've got kids like me, you gotta leave the kids somewhere else, or take them on or if you go on a trip without the kids, that's the time to dine here, or wait until they turn 21. I saw actually a couple of families with kids that were not really kids anymore, I guess, but they went as a family, all as adults, 21 and up, and were enjoying the experience of dining there together. And the interior space is more well lit because it has these giant windows as compared to the waiting area. It still has this really interesting artwork, right? And the lights all are very reminiscent of the spherical design of Spaceship Earth, or the geodesic design of Spaceship Earth. The coasters are reminiscent of that. The glasses are reminiscent of that. And through the menu, they also mention to you the tools that are used to prepare the cocktails or the zero-proof cocktails, and the type of glassware that is going to be served in, which really, again, adds that experience. So that's part of the reason for the pricing here, is it's more than just, you're not dining at Connections Eatery, right? You're here for an experience. And the walk through the garden, it was certainly incredibly unique. I've never tasted anything like that before. It had elements of things I tasted before, but it was very citrusy and refreshing, almost like a lemonade. And then it had this herbaceous quality. It felt like I was tasting different parts of a garden, tasting different vegetables or fruits. And it almost was like that smell that you get in the greenhouses of Living with the Land. It tasted like I was tasting that. And it was really appetizing and very, very, very refreshing. And I walked out of there feeling good. I didn't feel like I would have felt if I had a cocktail. So all the more reason, just validating my decision to stay away from alcohol as much as possible. I felt great. It tasted delicious. It still gave me that complex experience of tasting a cocktail without any of those side effects. So highly recommend it. For the small bites, I got the cannellini hummus, and the main reason was because honestly, nothing else really on the menu looked appetizing to me. I have a strong aversion to anything mushroom or truffle. It just makes me incredibly nauseous to even smell it, so I just stuck away from the fungi flatbread. The jumbo lump crab gâteau, which was a really close second choice. I just didn't feel like having crab. It was a little too hot outside. The truffled ahi tuna, similar story there. But I thought, the cannellini hummus would be light and refreshing and just pique my appetite a bit. And it certainly did. And it was really, really good. I wouldn't say I would come here specifically for the hummus. It wasn't like the most incredible hummus I've ever had, but certainly very unique flavors. It was mild hummus. It was full of flavor. And it was really, really delicious with the papadum, which was so thin that they gave me a spoon to scoop the hummus onto it, and mentioned it was for that reason. So overall, I have a very strong impression of GEO-82. This is not a place I'm going to be going to a lot because it's really just one item on the menu that I have an interest in for a small bite, and one item for a zero-proof cocktail. They can make it is a full-service bar, so they can make other mocktails or cocktails. They even had soda that's there, so there's other things beyond what's listed on the menu. But if you are someone who is a cocktail drinker, definitely come here. And if you're not a cocktail drinker, but like me, you're looking for a zero-proof cocktail to mimic that experience, give you a complex beverage, a walk through the garden was delicious. By the way, if you are interested in Manhattan in the morning, it has Seedlip Spice 94 non-alcoholic spirit, Joffrey's Coffee Cold Brew. That was the other reason I didn't get that one, is it was 6:15 and it was a little too late for me to have caffeine. Maple, Verjus Blanc, Tart Cherry, Fee Brothers Black Walnut Bitters. Yeah, so that's the Manhattan in the morning, and it's meant to be a little bit more like a cosmopolitan. Is kind of the way that it was described to me. So that's something, if you're interested in that, you can go with that option. But overall, again, very strong impressions. I'm probably not going to come here that frequently, especially because I'm usually here with the girls, and it'll be a long time before they're old enough to experience this. But if I'm here by myself on a future visit for a work-related purpose, I'll probably be popping back in to get a walk through the garden once again. If you've been to GEO-82, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't, let me know what is most interesting to you, or if you have any questions. As always, thank you so much for listening to Imagination Skyway's bonus podcast episodes, or popcorn series, however you want to call it. And remember, as always, to keep moving forward. Welcome back to Imagination Central. Before you exit this episode, remember to follow Imagination Skyway on social media and share the show with anyone who might enjoy listening to our program. For ad-free episodes and bonus content, create a free account or sign up for a premium subscription at patreon.com/imaginationsskyway. Thanks again to our Patreon subscribers for sponsoring this episode. When you're ready for your next vacation, remember that listeners of Imagination Skyway can get rewarded for booking a trip to Disney in 2025 through KMV Travel. Simply fill out the form at kmvtravel.com/skyway and make sure that you select Imagination Skyway under the How Did You Hear About Us question to be eligible for a special gift from the team. Terms and conditions apply. As you disembark, please remember to remain fully seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop. Then gather your belongings and watch your head and step as you exit. Thank you for joining me aboard Imagination Skyway, and remember, if we can dream it, we can do it.